The roar of the elders was passed down to Kion, but what if he wasn't the only one? When Kion arrives at the Tree of Life broken and searching for purpose, he encounters someone who carries the same fire and the same blood. His name is Kopa. Disney may have forgotten him, but the fans never did. To understand where he comes from, we need to go back to the beginning of his story. No, not in the films, but in an old set of children's books called The Lion King: 6 New Adventures. These books, released shortly after the original movie, introduce Kopa as the firstborn son of Simba and Nala. His fur was a golden hue with a reddish mane beginning to form. He was adventurous, fearless, and endlessly curious. These traits often got him into trouble, just like Simba. But the twist is that Kopa has never appeared in any official Disney film or series. He exists purely in extended lore, but that hasn't stopped fans from keeping his story alive for nearly 3 decades. In fact, some believe we've seen him before without even knowing it. At the end of the original Lion King, when Rafiki holds up a newborn cub for the kingdom to see, we're told in Simba's pride that this is Kiara. But the timelines don't add up, and the cub's design doesn't match hers at all. That's led to one of the most enduring theories in the fandom. That cub at the end of the first movie was Kopa. If that's true, then Kopa wasn't just a side character. He was the rightful heir, a prince erased from the story and the history of the Pride Lands. But if he disappeared, where did he go? And how did Kion end up finding him again, so far from home? The answers lie deeper in the roots of the Tree of Life. Over the years, 3 major theories have been built around it. The first, and by far the darkest, is simple. Zira killed Kopa. In this theory, Kopa was the original heir to the throne, but Zira, Scar's most loyal follower, saw him as a threat to her dream of restoring Scar's bloodline. So, under the pretense of peace, she lured Kopa away and murdered him. It explains why Simba is so ruthless toward the outsiders in Simba's pride, and it recontextualizes why he's so overprotective of Kiara. He was not just guarding his daughter, he's guarding what he had already lost once. But then there's another possibility, that Kopa survived. According to this theory, Zira's attack didn't kill him, but left him gravely wounded. Lost and presumed dead, he was rescued by nomads or distant animals who took him far beyond the Pride Lands. There, he grew up alone, far from the throne that was once his, and eventually found his way to the most sacred place in the Lion Guard universe, the Tree of Life. And finally, there's a more complex theory. Simba knew Kopa was alive, but chose to hide it. Maybe he believed keeping Kopa's survival a secret was the only way to protect him from Zira, from war, and politics. If that's true, it changes everything we know about Simba. The mighty king was burdened with a choice no father should have to make, but that choice came with a cost. Kion and Kiara, who never even knew they had a brother until Kion left the Pride Lands. So, when Kion arrived at the Tree of Life, he was searching for healing. He was physically wounded and mentally shaken. But what he didn't expect to find was someone who looked just like him, a lion with the same fire in his eyes, the same weight on his shoulders, and the same blood in his veins. It's Kopa, the brother Kion never knew existed. Their meeting is one of the most compelling fan moments that has never been shown on screen. Imagine Kion discovering that the brother he never knew existed has been alive this whole time. And not only alive, but thriving at the Tree of Life. But their reunion isn't simple. Kion is angry. Why didn't his father tell him? And Kopa, he's haunted by the betrayal that nearly killed him and the fear of returning to a family that moved on without him. Yet, despite the pain, a bond begins to grow between them because both of them carried the roar. Some say Kopa was the first to be chosen by the great kings to inherit the roar of the elders, but that destiny was stolen from him by Zira's betrayal, and Kopa was lost before his legacy could begin. Until now, because peace never lasts long when the past is still alive. Theories say that Zira's followers are headed toward the Tree of Life to finish what Zira started and destroy the sanctuary that defied the Outlands. And Scar, through dark magic, tries to manipulate Kopa just as he once tempted Simba and corrupted Kion. But this time, the roar doesn't fall to darkness. Kopa resists, and Kion stands beside him. Together, Kion and Kopa unleash their strength. One roar from the past and one roar from the future joined in harmony. The enemy breaks down by the force of something they could never control. In that moment, Kopa is no longer the forgotten prince. he becomes a protector. After the battle, there's one path left to walk. That goes to home. Kion and Kopa return to the Pride Lands together. Their journey is quiet, and when Pride Rock appears on the horizon, Kopa hesitates. So much time has passed, so many truths got buried, but the moment Simba sees him, the silence shatters. Nala is the first to break. She rushes to him with tears in her eyes and her voice trembling with disbelief. She had mourned him once, but now she finally holds him again. Simba follows, but his joy is weighed down by guilt. He stares at the son he never protected, the prince he never mentioned. For the first time, the mighty king hesitates. I thought I was doing the right thing, he says, but even he knows the past doesn't offer easy forgiveness. Kiara watches, confused like others. A brother she never knew she had was now standing before her. For a moment, she doesn't know what to feel or say to him. And then there's Vitani. She steps forward slowly, her expression unreadable. After all, she and Kopa were raised on opposite sides of a war they didn't choose. But now, as they stand face to face, the history begins to fade. When their eyes meet, they feel a connection, a spark. Some say Kopa never returns to royal duties. He doesn't fight to be king or join Kion's Lion Guard. Instead, he chooses Vitani. Together, they rebuild what was broken, and that's where one of the fandom's most beloved theories takes root. The beginning of Kopatani, a romance that also symbolizes peace, forged between two legacies that once stood on war. And for the first time in a long time, the circle of life doesn't just move forward, it completes itself. So, what do you think? Did Kopa survive and choose peace, or was he lost in the past? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed diving into this untold chapter of the Lion King universe, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next roar from the Pride Lands.